Hi everyone, my name is Adele and welcome to my channel. If you're new to this channel, thank you for tuning in and welcome. And if you have been a long time subscriber, thank you so much and welcome back. This week has been such a powerful and transformational week for me personally, and I'm sure also for a lot of ascending individuals out there. And as such, I have actually followed the guidance of my higher self and spirit team to implement two major changes. Okay, so if you followed my social media posts on Facebook and Instagram, you would know what those changes are. But just a quick rundown. The first change is the change to my website address. Okay, so the old one, rafaelsilingspace.com.au, has now changed to just my own name, adelearini.com. Now this change is actually effective right now, immediately, and any site visits to the old address will now be simply redirected to the new one for about 8 months from now. Okay, and then after the 8 months period is over, the address will no longer work. The old one will no longer work. Alright, so that's the first change. The second change is obviously my YouTube channel name. It's also changed from Rafael Siling Space to my own name. And from now on, there will be regular contents uploaded onto the channel once a week, every Sunday. Now, the topics will of course be about spirituality, ascension, self-mastery, divine love, and yeah, just anything and everything that will help me, that will help you perhaps to become more of who we truly are, to embody our higher self, to embody our divine presence fully whilst we are in this physical body, whilst on earth. Okay, so it's going to be such an exciting time, everyone. I'm so happy to have finally reached this phase of my spiritual journey where I can actually sit like this in front of the camera and connect with all of you. Alright, so without further ado, let's get started with today's topic. And the topic of today's video will be all about love. This is such an important topic for me. It's truly near and dear to my heart. And yeah, so let's get started. Alright, dear friends, let us begin this video series on love with an overview of love by highlighting the differences in terms of energy vibrations between the two major types of love. The first type of love, which for convenience purposes only, will be referred to as 3D or third dimensional love in this video. It's love that vibrates at the lower energetic frequencies of the human consciousness. The second type of love, which for convenience purposes only, will be referred to as 5D or fifth dimensional love in this video. It's love that vibrates at the higher energetic frequencies of the human consciousness. Please note the words lower and higher that I used previously simply indicate the energetic characteristics of the person, being, object, or consciousness that is being discussed. It's totally unlike the way the 3D human consciousness normally works, that automatically tends to associate the word higher with better or good, and then the word lower with bad or worse than. And so, just to be clear, in the context provided above in regards to 3D love and 5D love, the words higher and lower simply mean the energetic state of love. All is energy, all are frequencies, everything makes a sound. Any object that vibrates and everything vibrates will create a sound. Whether or not it can actually be heard or discerned clearly by a human being is irrelevant. This is quantum physics. It's not just philosophy. The fact that all is energy has been proven by our scientists, the famous one being Albert Einstein. For example, do you know that the frequency of the color red is different than the color blue? The frequency of pure divine love is completely different from the frequencies of anger, hatred, jealousy, or discrimination. A person's overall physical body emits frequencies that are different from his or her mental body or emotional body. One specific organ in the human body, for example, the kidney, vibrates at different frequencies from the heart or the liver. Frequency is the number of times per second that a sound pressure wave repeats itself, or the number of waves that occur in any given unit of time. Has anyone here ever seen sound waves graphs? The lower the frequency of a sound, the fewer the oscillations. Higher frequencies produce more oscillations. And so, can we say with great confidence that higher frequencies are better than lower ones? Yes and no. Are lower frequencies better than higher ones? Again, the answer is yes and no. There are no definitive answers to the question, which one is better? Because it will all depend on the purpose, the goal, the focus, the intention, the plans that have been put in place by the relevant parties. Just like there is no right and wrong about anything. Of course, there is if you have currently arrived at the phase in your spiritual journey where you deeply recognize, understand, and resonate with the previous sentence. Whenever someone tries to decipher who or what is right or wrong, it simply indicates the state of that person's internal operating system, OS, within his or her physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual bodies. His or her overall energetic frequencies of consciousness that automatically and naturally tends to separate anything into two distinct, usually polar opposite categories. Throughout history, mankind has been defining or labeling love in many different ways and forms. It's written in the books or the poems. It's in the lyrics of songs. It's in movies or shows. And today I have picked the following one just as an example. Let's now take a look at the definitions of love that can be found in the Bible. Please note, I'm only using these definitions of love because of their popularity and not because I have anything against the Bible or against any religion. The very first thing that I have noticed is that there are many do's and don'ts. Some of you here probably knew a little bit about my background. I have been able to communicate with Spirit, with the divine for close to 4 decades. My higher self and the members of my spirit team are the most unconditionally loving light beings that I have had the fortune to have. They're always supporting me by my side as I walk through this odyssey called life on Earth. And believe it or not, during those 4 decades, Spirit had never ever told me to do this or that, or to not do this or that. You know, like in a bossy or commanding manner. Spirit has always allowed me to choose for myself what was best or good for me at any moment in time. They have their own amazing ways to inspire and guide me towards what they think was best or better for me, but they never actually cross that invisible line between inspiring or guiding and actually making the choice or the decision for me. And so if one were to use that as the gold standard or the best benchmark that we can all aspire to be for what pure love or divine love or unconditional love is like, then those definitions of love from the Bible can be categorized as the 3D definitions of love. And next, I have prepared an analysis guided by my higher self for those definitions of love. If you want, simply pause this video to read everything that was written there. Alright, the next 2 images are all about the main differences between 3D love and 5D love. I am not going to read all of the main characteristics of each type of love out loud. I also won't provide an explanation about every characteristic written on those images for 2 reasons. Firstly, they're pretty self-explanatory. And secondly, I prefer to keep the length of this video to a minimum. Simply pause this video to read them if you wish. And for the next image, the 4 pillars of divine love are all there. At the moment, I will not go into them in detail, especially about trust and commitment. Those are two topics that I had written about before in previous channeled messages posted on my website. Alright, dear friends, I think it's time to wrap this up. When I first started creating this video, I thought I would be able to cover all 10 topics today, all in one video. Little did I know that my higher self had other plans. And so at the moment, this has turned out to be a series of up to 10 videos aimed to raise our level of perception or understanding about love. In next week's video, we will be covering part 2, stages of spiritual awakening relating to love. I hope you have enjoyed watching today's video. Please don't forget to press like and subscribe to this channel if you have found the information here to be useful in your journey back to divine love. I am sending you all my love and gratitude. Namaste.